Close your tabs, Claire. Rah! Hello, hello, hello. Oh, hello, how are we? Right, I'm hoping because I announced well ahead of time that we might have some people joining me live. Now, I'm planning on doing this again, right? I should be doing this every week. Keep me accountable. Because I can get lost, I can actually hide. I can get scared and I feel the fear and I pull back. And it's just normal for me to feel, when I'm here. And this should feel like home to me. I could go in other people's groups and share my story, but somehow it feels a little bit cringy coming back, and I don't know why. I've loved coming out and meeting people in real life. I've loved that. And it's just on a different level, isn't it? You just connect with people differently. And it's like we're clinging on to each other, not wanting to leave each other in case we'll not see each other again. It's just been so nice to be able to come out and meet people. Hello, Louise. How are you? How are you doing? I just feel it's so, it's just such a blessing that I'm pushing myself, and that's the only way that this is happening, right? I'm booking things ahead of my time, ahead before I'm ready. If you're following my journey because you've got an online business, like no one is knocking on my door, you have to keep pushing yourself forward. And because I've got something set in stone, then I'm just planning other things around that. So if I'm near you or coming near you, or if you've got a centre somewhere and you'd love me to come along, like please tell me, reach out. I want to come out and I want to be in real life with you, because it just helps me have that better connection. And it makes me feel like I'm more on track, because the amount of people who like jumped out of the shadows and said, I've been following you, I know you. Like I'm going, oh my God, this is really surreal. This is a bit weird. So perhaps having that experience now, no wonder I'm a bit scared turning up. I didn't think anybody was taking any notice. I think we're very lurker heavy in this group. I would love to see some more connection. And I know people are watching. I know that this is growing. I know that people are connecting with my message. So if you haven't met me before, this may be your first time. I'm Claire. I would like to call myself the Soberholic. I feel like this is my purpose. This was something that I didn't even know that I needed to do. It just unfolded for me. And my story is sad, but I also feel like it's inspirational because I was inspired by a friend who's no longer with us, right? She's mentioned as a dedication in my book because she just inspired me. Like she would inspire me on many levels, right? Makeup, hairstyles, clothes, fashion, that sort of thing. And then we lost touch, as people do. And when we met up again, we both liked, enjoyed a drink, but how I was drinking and how she was drinking was very different. It was different, but actually I was drinking more. I was just on this, like, I don't know what even to call it. I look back now and I don't even know how I was keeping all those plates spinning. I was running a business that wasn't lighting me up. I had started that business years earlier because I didn't want to go back after my maternity leave. I wanted to be at home with my children. So we'd invested in property, and how life happened, we ended up looking after other people's property, which put me in a really difficult position, a position that I didn't enjoy being in, a position that didn't suit my personality. So I was just the go-between. I was there to take the messages and pass them on. I was the messenger. Right? And I didn't like that. I didn't like having that, not just the responsibility of that, but I just didn't like that. It didn't serve me. I wasn't where I was supposed to be. And while I was busy with my children and they were keeping me occupied, then obviously I would just drink as everyone does in that stage of their life. But it did increase. It increased as I felt I deserved more. And it was definitely connected with my business because I felt like I couldn't walk away from something that to other people looked like a success, but to me, it was pulling me down. So that might resonate with you. It might be from the outside, everything looks perfect, but inside, you know that something's just not right. And so you turn to your friends and people around you, and maybe they don't understand it. It sounds like you're complaining about something that people think that you should be grateful for. And that's a really tricky position to find yourself in. And often the answer, between all of where myself included, I'm guilty as anyone of this, would be to say the answer is a bottle of wine. The answer is a good night out with your friends. And I'd used that answer for so many things, for so many reasons. And it just couldn't be the answer anymore. We tried time apart and we kept hold of the alcohol. Then we got back together and kept hold of the alcohol. It was never, ever a suggestion to put that down. It was we had to try harder to make everything else fit. That was staying, that was a given. That was even more definite than my husband, right? Like, that's how much I thought that I deserved it. And because my life wasn't falling apart, that just gave me more permission. Because I wasn't as bad as them people over there, I wasn't as bad as her. But at what point do we stop giving each other the birthday cards? At what point do we say, right, okay, now we can pick you up from this side and put you into that side? And who decides that? When does that happen? When we forget to pick the kids up from school? At what point do we realise that this isn't working out? It's not working out anymore. Or it used to be funny. It's not funny anymore. I've got friends who are no longer with us anymore. Maybe it used to be a laugh. But now I believe that we should be applauding health-seeking behaviour. We should be taking the pressure off the NHS and taking control of our own health. Health for me is always the top priority. And what I do with my membership is I break it down into 3 motivational pillars. So each week I turn up and I talk about, on a Monday, I talk about your health. Or I bring in a little story about how this has affected my health, or how, the benefits I didn't expect. So I try to focus on that day of the week. And on a Wednesday I talk about my wealth and about how it would affect the job that you do, or the decisions that you make, and what you believe you deserve, and who you want to spend time with, and where you know that you're at your best. We talk about your wealth and how you plan for your future to continue with your wealth, and how you collect your wealth, and how you distribute your wealth, and what you do with your wealth, everything to do with wealth. So very slowly you can see that we're not talking about alcohol anymore. But my idea is that these are the things that are keeping women stuck, because we don't know where to go to share this information. We don't know where to go to ask the questions. It might be something really simple that you don't know, but someone else does. Or I don't know, but you do. So I'm hoping in time it's not going to just be me doing all the talking. But for now, what I'm really aiming for is to get women who are ready for lasting change, women who know they deserve more because they are more, and know that you've got more to give. This isn't about what's in your glass, it's about what it is that you really want. And whether that be in your health, your wealth, or on a Friday, we talk about relationships. So how's this turning up with your relationship with yourself? Are you where you thought you would be at this stage in your life? Do you feel like you're in control? Or are you just actually getting blown back and forward in the wind? Do you have a plan? Are you just waiting it out until the next holiday? How are you planning that? Are you in a relationship that really lights you up? Do you want more passion in your life? Would you like more adventure? Are you sitting on the sofa waiting for him to turn around and be that guy? What is it that you want? What do you feel that's missing in your life? And, these are questions that might take months to explore. But being around someone who can keep you accountable and keep you with that connection and keep you focused on you knowing that you deserve this is really going to make it a much faster journey, isn't it? Rather than you feeling like you're chipping away at this on your own, especially if you're the only person in your gang who really wants to up level and who can see that you want more because you deserve more. Now, many people who come into my world are at a transition time in their life. Maybe they're being made redundant, or they're not sure if they're in the right job, or they're just, they've perhaps taken a position that they knew at the time was all they could achieve, and now they've lost their confidence and they're worried about how they're going to get to where they really want to be, or they're dreaming of starting their own business or writing their own book. But people around them are perhaps keeping them small and making them doubt whether that's just a dream for other people. Well, this is your way of tapping into having that motivation from somebody who's never going to suggest that the answer is a bottle of wine. I'm never going to suggest that. I want you to feel that I'm in your corner supporting you with your hopes and your goals and your dreams. And slowly you'll not need alcohol in your life. Or at the times when you choose to drink it, you'll be in control, and it'll be through a different lens than maybe where you're sitting at the moment. So this doesn't have to be forever, and it doesn't have to be from day one. It's just about paying attention to who you are, who you need to be, and where you're going, what it is that you want to become. Because a lot of the time we forget what we're capable of, and perhaps we've been focused on other things. We've been distracted. And now this could be your commitment to yourself. I'm asking you to exchange one bottle of wine, right? I've priced it out at one bottle of wine per week that you would be exchanging. I'm pricing it £33 per month. And for that money, I'm turning up 3 times a week. I mean, you can ask questions in the group. I'm hoping other people are going to be there supporting and helping each other. I've got some amazing women in there already who've got some brilliant stories of transformation that they've already achieved. This isn't about needing fixed. This is about you having other people around you who are on the same page and at the same stage and wanting to move forward with their life at whatever level. And it's ongoing. It's an ongoing process for all of it. You just feel a level of commitment to yourself, and just feeling that it's possible. It's possible for you now, because you're going to have that energy and that clarity and that commitment, and you're going to be around other people who are going to hold you on the days where you don't feel like it's possible. And they come. That's normal. They don't go away. They still come. But like waves, that it's just time to take a step back and, maybe take a breath. Instead of keep pushing forward, maybe it's time to reflect and just take some time out. And, it doesn't have to happen straight away. It doesn't have to happen on day one. This is a culture of progress. In the 5-stage process that I talk through in the book, it's the chapters of my book, it's the modules of my program, and it walks you through from feeling stuck like Susie, and you move on to feeling like you're observing. Now, if you're here in this group, you're already observing. It's about paying attention now, and we're so easily distracted. So it's about you putting time aside when you know you're not going to be distracted. Instead of just doing it on the moment, you need to get yourself into a routine, and this is what the book will share with you to talk you through. First, it shares my story as to why I started this business and how that came about. But soon it talks you through, like Susie, as to when she started off stuck, and you move forward to observing like Ollie. So Susie doesn't realise that actually the problems in her life would be, well, they would be improved if she changed what was in her glass. She believes at that stage that alcohol is her friend. to suggest to Susie that maybe you should look at your drinking, that would be like a red flag to a bull, because to her, it's the glue that's holding everything together. So she's going to feel really misunderstood. But hopefully, if she stumbles across me and she realizes that this is a concept and it's a journey, it's not on or off, then she might be open to looking at this, and which is exactly the next stage. So she starts observing, maybe she's somewhere and she's thinking about, well, actually, I am drinking more than I had actually acknowledged. It is making me feel irritable if I'm not getting a drink at a certain time of day. Like, so she just starts to slowly acknowledge when she drinks and why she drinks. And then maybe by observing, like Ollie, she starts to question why she would want to cut down and what benefits she might find from that and what's in it for her. Like, we're only going to do something if there's a reason and a benefit for us. We're not going to, rush out there to do something unless we think that it's worth a while. And so by observing, like Ollie, you might start seeing the benefits that other people have, and you think, well, a little bit like me wearing a dress and admiring a dress in someone else and think, well, what would that look like on me? That looks lovely on you, but what would that look like on me? You start observing other people's lives and think, well, would that work in my life? Could I do that? Like, would I be interested in doing such a thing like that? That's how we learn and how we grow, from observing other people. And then it comes a day where you feel, right, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to be bold like Bessie. So Ollie can see other people doing this, but there is still a massive element of doubt for her. And I recognise myself in all of these stages, because these are the stages that I went through. These aren't just something I've plucked out the sky. And the biggest hurdle I've always had is my own limiting beliefs. And that continues on every level. So I recognise myself in Ollie. If you're here and you're thinking, this is brilliant, but it's for other people, it's not for me, then I can recognise myself in that. And I think what you need, the switch for me then was just saying yes to everything. I remember going with Maggie Martin rock climbing indoors in a church in Newcastle, and I said, yes, okay, I'll come, because I wanted to be that person. I wanted to be the person who did that thing. I didn't really want to do it. That sounds crazy. I hope you can relate to that. I wanted the benefits without actually any of the effort. And I had to experience the benefits for the thing. Oh my God, that was amazing. That was worth the effort and more. And I can't wait to go now that I've dropped some weight, because I think it'll be even more fun. But it wasn't something I rushed back to do the next week. I just took the lesson. I took the experience. And I also took the fact that I nearly said no. I nearly said no to that. So saying yes to things that don't necessarily feel like they suit you. I'm asking you to be open-minded. Think of a kid where you're trying to get them to try broccoli for the first time. You just try it once. And so by being bold, like Bessie, that's when you're ready and you go, okay, I'm going to say yes. And it might take 2 or 3 cycles of saying yes, no, okay, yes, I'm in, until you actually feel like you can tick it off the list and think, look how far I've come. I was stuck like Susie. I thought I needed this to have fun, and now look at me. Now look at me calling this fun and coming to this sort of a place, and I'm laughing, and it is fun, and I'm connecting with people, and I didn't think it was possible to do that without having a drink in my hand. So all I was doing was finding evidence to support my decision to improve my health, rather than finding evidence to support my decision to continue the behaviour that I was trying to avoid. So I hope that gave you a little switch in how I was contemplating it all. And then, we can all be bold. We can stay at home with the curtains closed and be bold all day long. Or we can engage You know, like this is a huge part of it, because engaging, like Elsie, is when you start considering your life like as a long term. This is a long term strategy. So think of it as lots of firsts. You might have your first barbecue this summer. You might have your first holiday, your first mini break, you know, your first time without alcohol. And you can tick them off, and like a little kid, honestly, trust me, all you have to do is look at any of the sober communities. You can see that the people who get to that stage, the buzzing and the dying for the next stage and the next first. It's the initial bit that's hard. And sadly, that's the bit that we tend to do over and over and over again. And when we get here, we can get a little bit despondent. We'll look back with rose-tinted spectacles. Some people call this the pink cloud. In the honeymoon period, right? Where everything is brilliant. And it's true, there are days where it's not like that. I mean, we're not here selling something that, you know, this is real life here. I'm just saying that life can be easier without it. So much easier without it, right? So, because you start taking care of yourself, you're not just getting the benefits of that, like not poisoning yourself. You also get the benefits of obviously sleeping better, making better choices, having better communication skills, having better making skills, and knowing what you want and who you are and why you're choosing the life you're choosing. You start noticing things and having clarity about the decisions you make at the beginning of the week are still who you want to be at the end of the week. So things just seem to calm down. The chaos in your life tends to calm down, and you start to feel more motivated to make other changes in your life. Changes that you've probably been meaning to make for such a long time. Changes that maybe were driving you to have a drink in the first place. So you start to recognize that this has just been a lot like a loop. You know, you've been drinking because of the things in your life that you cannot be bothered to do because you're drinking, right? So all of these little alarm bells start going off, and you think, oh, well, that makes sense now. Now I've got the energy, I can see for what it is, and I can make the changes. And often the things that we're avoiding are nowhere near as bad as we think they are, right? And then we become rebalanced, like Riley. So over time, you start to feel more confident in yourself, and your identity starts to shift. You start to recognize that you are capable, and you have the difficult conversations, and you start to create boundaries in your life. Boundaries that you've thought about, and they're not a knee-jerk reaction to something. You've thought this through, right? And you start to feel rebalanced, and you're looking back, and things just look different. And at this stage, you know, anything seems possible, whether it's to start your own business or to, you know, write the book. The time, the energy that you've got now is on another level. So the book walks you through the stages, and it gives you the case studies of the Susie, Ollie, Bessie, Elsie, Riley, to share with you the different reasons they had for drinking and different reasons they've got for quitting. And really to hopefully tap into your situation so you can relate and see yourself at any stage within that journey, because it's really difficult at the time for you to recognize that this isn't on or off. It's not like you're drinking or you're not drinking. Even putting yourself in front of this video is gonna get the message to your subconscious that things are ready to change. So just be open to showing up. That's all that you need to do. I mean, the book's now available on Amazon. I wrote the book after I took a life coaching course. I had been inspired by my friend and decided to go and do some voluntary work at a local recovery clinic. And I loved my time there, and it was a self-referral clinic where people could walk off the street if they wanted to go. And if I'm honest, it wasn't somewhere that I would have been in a hurry to go. I'm sure they do really good work, but it was something that even if I'd been brave enough to knock on the door, it would have felt like this is my rock bottom moment. It was never something that felt like I'm not suggesting, like your vision of a rehab with all the white gowns, but I feel like it's about taking care of yourself and just remembering who you are and how precious and unique and special and lucky really we are, and to start having that level of gratitude for yourself and thinking about your life and thinking about your health. And once you start to treat yourself in that way, other people around you get inspired. Well, first they start treating you better, then they start treating themselves better. And it's just an up leveling for everyone who's around you. It makes you just feel better. There isn't any other way to describe it. It's not about going without. It's really about deciding who you are and what it is that you want. What it is that you want for your life. Many people spend longer planning their 2-week holiday than they do planning the next 5 or 10 years of their life. So even if you saw this as a stopgap to say, right, I just want to take stock of where I am, where I'm going, get a hold of my health, and just start thinking about what's next for me, what is the next stage in my life. Because I went through the Ladette culture, the rave scene, the mummy needs wine culture almost took me. And it's about thinking, well, what's next? Who do you want to be as you're moving on to the next stage in your life? I want to be strong and healthy. That's what I want. So I'm aiming for strong and healthy. And I'm taking my focus to that as my end goal. But I'm planning to have fun on the way to it. It's not like I'm choosing that instead of having fun. I'm actually now a believer that I'll have more fun if I'm healthy. Like, how about that for an idea? It'll be more fun to be able to be healthy rather than thinking I won't have any fun if I can't have alcohol. It's just a switch in mindset, and it's not easy, but it's simple. And it's so much simpler if you link arms and do it with other people who are on the same path and on the same stage as you. So grab the book from Amazon, get started. It shares with you other professionals who've read the book, who've supported me since the beginning. A bit about my story. The question, is alcohol, the thing we typically use to keep it together, actually the root cause of our poor mental health? This book will share my personal experience and how I support others when they ask themselves a similar question. So I'm sharing in here everything about what inspired me. I mean, I came up to the age that I was when I lost my dad. Was 45 when he died. So as I was approaching that age, it seemed as if it was, really important for me to now take notice of my health. And it wasn't something that I'd done for that reason before. It had always been about losing a few pounds 3 weeks before my holidays. It had never, ever been a priority in my life. And I think it's interesting because when we start removing alcohol, it's normal to crave sugar. And I had got to that stage many times before and thought, well, that's just as bad, that's even worse. When you look at sugar, you see that we're trained to see that as being the bad guy. But don't forget, in one bottle of wine, there's the equivalent of 120 grams of sugar in one bottle of rosé wine. Now, I would knock 3 of them back on a Saturday afternoon with a bit of ice and lemonade, like no problem. And I'd be shouting for something else, like after that. So imagine the sugar that my body was used to from those binges, like those whole weekend binges. Because that wasn't just a one-day thing, that would be one session of probably many sessions. My body just got tolerant to that. I didn't know at that stage that my liver wasn't processing the food I was eating, the choices I was making. It was too busy processing the alcohol, and it was storing the food as fat. So can you imagine when my body stopped having the alcohol? Yes, I was grabbing the sugar, But everything changed. My body's completely different now than what it used to be. And I take protein, I drink protein drinks. I treat myself differently than I ever did before. My palate wants healthy food. I don't want to have a greasy kebab. I don't want to have that now. So everything changes from that one decision. Everything changes. And then you start having more energy and you want to spend more time with your kids. You spend more time looking after yourself. I was talking to a client today about, often you would get dressed up because you're going out drinking. Where now I just like to get dressed up because I've got nice clothes, so I like to wear them. There doesn't have to be a reason. It's just about feeling better every day rather than keeping that for your special occasion. And that's just come with time, and I think with changing my job, because in my old job I used to wear scruffy clothes because I was doing tip runs and painting and scraping wallpaper. I was working in property. So I think it just depends on what it is that you're doing, and don't forget that bigger picture, because I thought I had to give up all the glamour as well. It was like I had connected the alcohol with glamour. And until I really journaled about what would I not, what would I miss? And it was getting ready and going out in little dresses and, feeling nice clothes on. And I got this sudden moment where I realised, well, I get to keep that. I'm allowed to keep that. I'm choosing to keep that. I'm just not having alcohol. But if I was just taking an alcohol-free alternative, maybe I wouldn't have changed so many things in my life. I think changing how I was spending my time changed my level of energy, which made me choose other activities rather than like relaxing and just sitting still and drinking. And then the next day sitting still because I was suffering because of the drinking. So everything changes. It's not just a direct result of removing the alcohol. The spin-offs from that are huge. In one top tip, if you take anything away, sit and just do a brain dump of that. If you stop, what would improve? How would it improve all the areas of your life? What could that look like in 6 months, in 2 years, in 4 years? Do it both ways. Let's keep drinking and do that, and let's stop drinking and do that, right? And that is powerful. That's such a powerful exercise for you to do alone. I think actually if there's on here, you can see as well, it talks about the group. There's a few members mentioned in here. We're Meg from the USA and Steph from Newcastle. And Sam. We've got Sam in there, and we've got Louise. And then, of course, I talk about the self-education revolution, because I think we can't ignore that I've spent a lot of time and energy on myself to promote and to deliver this as a business, and obviously write my book. So I do think that there's something in that as well. The very fact that I was turning around and helping other people really elevated my own self-belief and my self-worth and my purpose. So don't underestimate the value of having a purpose. I think your identity and a purpose are two of the most important things. So I quickly became someone who was running a business, and I share in here how I came up with the 5-stage concept, and this was the original drawing until they were given the personalities. And this is the visual which shows all the different stages that they are at. And of course you could go so far and you can come back, but you're never going to unknow the things that you learn. So and as well, the stuff that's in the program, it's life coaching, so it's going to be helpful and supportive for you and the people in your life. It's not something that's just about alcohol, So my mission, it became a mission. I have had many coaches that have supported me throughout the process, And I think it wasn't until I started investing in my own personal development did I feel I really turned a corner. And so what I'm doing is I'm passing that knowledge back on to you and saying, this is the key. This really was the key. You know, it's not about hitting yourself with a stick, and it's not about being good. It's about self-development and feeling that level of self-worth, whether you see that as value for yourself and your business or just value for you. Like, honestly, some of the things that I feel I've invested in, I get to keep this. I could take this with me. It's kind of like when you invest in a property, yes, you're making that worth more money, but it's like your own self-worth. And that's priceless, isn't it? All it's took is taking the time. Instead, when I was sitting drinking, and I've been investing in my own learning what I wanted to learn. You know, it's got to come from you, what it is that lights you up, and the changes that you want to see in your life. In those 3 areas, I'll mention them again: your health, your wealth, or your relationship. You know, it could be that you think, oh, right, okay, well, I've actually done loads of research about that, and to be fair, I know such a lot about that. Yeah, God, that's really valuable what I know about that. Imagine if I could get all that knowledge in one place. How many people would that knowledge help and support? Or it could be something to do with your wealth. You know, what's your story? What's your money story? So many women have got money blocks and worries about, should they be earning more? Should they even talk about money? Is it their money? Is it his money? Whose money is it? You know, what if you left? Is it half your money? Is it not your money? Like, there's so many things that people might be worrying about. And instead of addressing them, perhaps they're taking a drink. So these areas are not by mistake, they're by design. I've designed it to make it easy. If you want to join the membership, for £33 a month, you're in a smaller group with people who are invested in themselves. And then in time, if you want to up level and you wanted to speak one-to-one, then you would have access to my call link, or we could do pen pal. So depending on what suits you and how you best learn and how you want this to look, then that's obviously the service that I'm providing. So I do have a blog post that I share, which is about my membership. I'll add that to the bottom of here. So if anybody wants to jump in for £33, there's no contract. So people can join and leave at any time. I mean, the book itself is a 10-week program. So I'm hoping people are going to stay for like 4 or 5 months. But I want you to think of it like Slimming World. You would join if you wanted that accountability. If you're building a business and you want to hold my hand and one-to-one support, then let's go all in until you're ready to go on your own. But there's no contract, no. I'm not drilling people in for any more than 1 bottle of wine a week. I hope you put that down and pick this up and start your journey with me. I'd be honoured to serve you. So thank you very much for watching. I will add my comments, and when this gets on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe. I will be adding another YouTube video that I've shared yesterday to get some more people to subscribe over on YouTube. There's loads of stuff over there as well. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye from me.